Hello and welcome, folks. For today, we figured, because tomorrow's gonna be very hectic, so I might as well do this now. So, you know, what what we're doing, of course. FAMU Bethune Cookman Florida Classic breakdown this week. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Good news is, and well, I guess it is good news depending on how you feel about it. Everybody's got varying opinions on this. So, how it works out now is just Florida Classic signed a new deal to where they'll be in Orlando for the next couple of years till 2026. Feel how you may about that. But outside of that, we're going to talk about, of course, all things pertaining to this game. Players to watch, keys to victory, of course. Breaking down both sides, looking at, the players to watch. I think I already just said that. FAMU's track to the FCS playoffs if they get in, the possibility of if they even get to host, um, and everything such as that, of course. Also, too, if you haven't watched the Running Gun podcast from Wednesday night, you may want to go check that out. That was pretty good. So, if you are a fan of the college football playoff, which I think we all are, um, go over there and go check that out because it gave every scenario to the college football playoff of what could happen. But, enough of me babbling on. The intro's next. Of course, be sure to leave a comment. Head to YouTube to leave a comment if you are watching this on Twitter or on Facebook. Um, and as well, if you are driving to Orlando, I can keep you occupied for 30 minutes while you're on your ride, while you're on your way there. So I guess I can do that. Outside of that, if you're traveling more than 30 minutes or an hour, I guess, time it just right for when you get to Orlando, I guess, or something, or enjoy the sound of my voice for as long as you can. So, yeah, make sure you leave a comment in the comment section. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel as well. So, don't go anywhere. Intro's next. We're going to get this in. We're going to get this out. Let's go. All right, so let's go ahead and dive right into it now. So last week for Bethune Cookman, they lost on a game-ending walk-off interception for Alcorn, 14-17 in on the reservation. For FAMU last week, they won against Alabama State 21-14 on a walk-off blocked field goal that would have essentially given Alabama State the lead, but I think it would have been a miss anyway. But they blocked it, ran it back the other way, got a walk-off blocked field goal for a touchdown. Time expires. No need to kick the field goal. That's it. So tale of two seasons really for both these teams. FAMU's looking for their third straight 9-win regular season. Bethune's looking to avoid their second straight 9-win regular season. For Bethune, though, they tend to match their opponent's intensity. They tend to. They have multiple times because you saw where they managed to get themselves into a shootout with Prairie View. Then they also managed to, play a defensive battle against Alcorn. So it goes to show you a couple things. Also, too, last week against Alcorn, they had 265 total yards of offense, 228 yards passing, 37 yards rushing. So that's a bad day for a team that loves to rush the ball as much as these guys do. One thing I did notice when watching the Alcorn tape is they will go for it if need be on fourth down. If they get a fourth and short situation, preferably on their side of the field, and they realize, we have a chance to get it. Plus, at this point, you're staring 2-9 in the face, so you have nothing to really essentially fight for but pride. So I think, yeah, they're going to go for it quite a bit on fourth down this weekend. They're going to probably try to pull out a fake play too, as well, possibly, to gain confidence and get them back in this or keep them in this game. Last week, 6 penalties for 50 yards. They turned the ball over 5 times. Allowed Alcorn to accumulate 191 yards. Yeah, accumulate 191 yards of total offense. 35 of that was passing. Alcorn gashed them. In retrospect, when you compare the passing and rushing yards, 156 yards of rushing compared to 35 passing. It's incredible. These are some numbers I've never seen much of before out of a team. No rumblings of Terry Sims being fired or being on the hot seat. I don't know. Maybe they just think he's a nice guy, and they're just really nice people. But I can tell you now, things are different ever since Len Thompson stepped away as the AD. They present with a 4-2-5 look, base 4-3. They tend to stay in the nickel look as well because we're in the era of spread offenses. As I already stated, Jalen Jones threw a walk-off interception. On the season, Jalen Jones, he was a player to watch along with Quayshawn Bird. Those are both Bethune's 2 leading rushers. As well, Jalen Jones, the JSU and Florida transfer, 2,059 yards, 11 TDs, 6 interceptions. Quayshawn Bird, star running back for Bethune-Cookman, 137 yards, or 137 carries, 764 yards. So he probably at one point was on pace for a 1,000-yard season, but it's not happening. And then the star receiver, who is actually a tight end in this offense, Kamari Everett, who is a Louisville transfer, 18 receptions, 267 yards, no TD passes caught this year. None. So I think the challenge presented to the Dark Clouds defense this weekend is essentially as follows. By all means necessary, Kamari Everett does not get a touchdown this weekend. So you keep him out of the end zone. Marcus Riley, also another star player for Bethune-Cookman, 30 receptions, 457 yards, 4 TDs. And then the leaders on defense based on the stats. Uriah Ratliff, he's the team leader with 60 total tackles, 34 solo. Amari Hill Robinson, the star defensive back on this team leading 4 interceptions, 24 total tackles, 18 solo of those 24 tackles. So pretty decent squad. Now for FAMU, you're looking for your third straight 9-win regular season since Willie Simmons' arrival in 2018. You missed 6 red zone opportunities last week. 3 were INTs, 3 were missed field goals. Now, I know a lot of people want to shame Jeremy Musa, but for those of you that listen to Willie Simmons' show on Monday nights, he gave a pretty good breakdown of what happened. And look, I know a lot of people want to be armchair QBs, as even Willie Simmons has said, but again, the opinion of the coach is the first, main, and final say, no matter how all of us may feel. Because I know I say some things, I know everybody else says some things. I know I sat near some armchair QBs at homecoming that had a lot to say. But at the end of the day, if Coach Simmons says it, it's true for the most part. Plus, I don't think he's a guy that's going to throw his players under the bus like in the NFL. Plus, and that's the thing that separates college from the NFL. In the NFL, you have head coaches that will throw their players under the bus. In college ball, more often than not, a good players coach that has a hold on his locker room, that has guys that are accountable, will not throw their guys under the bus. Hence why you look at guys like Willie Simmons, like a Nick Saban, they ain't throwing their guys under the bus. What else we got here? Xavier Smith, of course, 52 yards away from a 1,000-yard season. I think he'll probably get that in the first quarter tomorrow. They held Alabama State to 14 yards rushing. Impressive. And that's going to come in handy going against a team that just last week had 37 yards rushing, So they're going to come in thinking that, you know what, we have to establish our running game and find some type of rhythm. You can't let that happen this weekend. You got to start. You got to continue to hold them to 37 yards rushing or less. They got two guys in the backfield that can take it the distance. Do not let them break that pocket. So linebackers going to have to spy something, and you got to start off quick. 384 yards of total offense, 277 passing, 107 rushing, allowed 138 yards of total offense. So Xavier Smith last week, it is true, had more yards receiving than Alabama State had in total. So Alabama State in total had, of course, 138 yards. Xavier Smith on his own had 145 yards. So very impressive. 124 of that was passing, 14 of it was rushing for Alabama State. So again, Dark Cloud's defense is playing good football at a key point here towards the end of the season. They were 12 of 20 on third down. Very successful early on, I will say, from FAMU's offense, converting particularly not just third downs, but third and long situations. And that's something you want to see too at the end towards the end of the season as well. So it's something that, you know, in most cases, a lot of offenses facing third and long like that, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 14 on their end of the field, they're not that daring. But, you know, last week on Saturday, it worked out. Most teams would just, you know, run the ball up the middle, you know, cut their losses and just punt it, play field position, but not FAMU. And that was impressive. 8 penalties for 55 yards as well last week, so you got to clean that up too as well. So, and then also 2 players to watch: Jeremy Musa, 2,535 yards, 19 TDs, 10 interceptions on the season. That INT total's got to go down next year. It has to, because it just has to. 3 of those came in one game. It's got to get better. Jalen McLeod, 85 carries, 353 yards, 3 TDs on the season. He's the team's leading rusher as far as total yards goes. Terrell Jennings, 70 carries, 312 yards, 2 TDs. He's the second leading rusher on the team for this season. And these are seasonal stats. These aren't stats from last week. Xavier Smith, 82 yards, 82 receptions, 948 yards, 10 touchdowns. Linebacker Isaiah Major, team leader in tackles, 76 total tackles, 10 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions. Javon Morgan, 37 total tackles, team leading 3 interceptions. And then linebacker Johnny Chaney, 52 total tackles, 4 tackles for loss. And I will say Johnny Chaney Jr. has come on very strong in this offense, or not in this offense, in this defense, my fault. He's come on very strong in this defense this season. So I think that him and Isaiah Major together next season, along with Eric Horn, who will be returning from an injury next year, that linebacking core is very scary. Plus, you've also got Gentle Hunt on the front end. So it's going to be scary. And I'm excited to see what it's going to look like. Plus, you know, the factor into, you know, you're still going to be bringing in players out of the portal. And you got guys that are going to mature in the offseason, grow into their bodies, and they're going to be able to contribute as well. So as follows, let's go ahead and start with it. Also, to be mindful, the comment section is open. So if you want to comment, feel free to leave a comment. I know someone asked last week, is Musa coming back in 2023? He will be back. He is a junior right now. And that's why Willie Simmons is optimistic for 2023 with him, so to say, because he feels Musa, like, you know, the UNC film he put on, Musa played exceptionally well. But after that, I think everybody kind of had too high of expectations, unrealistic expectations for him. And Willie Simmons has said, you know, I feel next year he will be able to play even better than what he's playing right now. Now, at the same time, too, given the climate of college football and the transfer portal, I would also bring in somebody to back him up and challenge for that spot. Or not even challenge for that spot, but more so a reliable backup. So with that being said, we can now switch on over to the questions for tomorrow. Why must this team stay focused? Look, I know there's a lot of talk of the FCS playoffs going on and stuff. So the best thing you can do right now is, just stay focused, focus on what you can control, and that's one game at a time. And Willie Simmons has reiterated that multiple times. Focus on what's in front of you, and I don't think you really need to find any more other motivation than to just, play with Bethune-Cookman, your in-state rival. So with that being said, I think that this team will stay focused. They'll be okay. Who is the unsung hero for MVP? Look, every year it's someone you don't expect. Every year it's someone you don't expect. So who could be a wild card to get it? AJ Davis is somebody. The obvious, possibly even Xavier Smith if he goes crazy tomorrow. Jamari Shareed could be someone else. BJ Bowler got it last year. Kendall Bowler, that's someone to keep an eye on. Javon Morgan, another person to keep an eye on. Maybe Gentle Hunt gets his hands on another loose fumble and runs it back again, or creates a safety or some type of havoc and has a day. He could get it. Or, quarterback could just go ahead and just get it himself, Musa. So there's a lot of people there that could possibly get it. Is this rushing attack due for a big day? Bethune was horrible against the run last week. They gave up 156 yards rushing. FAMU, I think in their best game on homecoming rushing the ball, they got 201 yards. So I'm looking at that. Plus the fact, too, that Bethune had only gotten 37 yards on their end rushing. You could have a big day today, which ding, ding, ding. Refer back to it. MVP, Florida Classic, AJ Davis, possibly. Just saying. Because Bethune's not that good against the run. They're not. Will Xavier Smith capture his second 1,000-yard season in his tenure? Look, like I said it last week, he had 1,159 yards in 2019. He had 713 in 2021. I think he's going to get that in the first half. I'm optimistic he is. If even shorter, he'll probably get it in the first quarter. How does this defense stop Jalen Jones? Simply put, you got to stop Jalen Jones from running the ball the same way Derek Brooks and Warren Sapp used to stop Michael Vick. Put a spy on him. Isaiah Major, Johnny Chaney, Darius Fagan. Somebody that can run sideline to sideline with this guy and stop him. Because I can guarantee you, if he can't run, it forces him to have to fully 90% of the time pass it. Or, let me dwindle it down a little bit. 85% of the time he'll have to pass it. So if you can limit him, you're one step closer to victory. Plus, the fact of the matter, too, is that takes Quarshawn Bird out of the equation, too. You force him to be a passer, or not a passer, a receiver, and he has to get his in some way, shape, or form there. So if you can stop him and stop Jalen Jones, the two teams' leading rushers, your chances of winning increase exponentially. Why is bringing constant pressure critical to stopping Bethune? Why? A, it stops them from being able to establish their rushing attack. Two, at that point, you rattle Jalen Jones. And if you can do that, his timing with his receivers is going to be off. So Marcus Riley, timing will be off with him if you can rattle him. Kamari Everett will finish the season likely without a touchdown reception. So yeah, you have to rattle Jalen Jones. You have to. Why must FAMU make a statement? Because at this point, you're trying to impress the FCS playoff committee to show them that you can be one of the teams that deserves to be invited in. Now, one thing that made me feel optimistic about it is if you can win this game, Willie Simmons on Monday night said there's a couple of teams in front of them right now that are not eligible for the FCS playoffs, such as the Ivy Leagues. So you got schools like Princeton that are not eligible for it. And then you also factor in, too, you have teams that transitioned already from D3, D2 that are not eligible for the FCS playoffs. So that's from Coach Simmons on his show Monday night. So if you don't believe me, go back and watch his show on Monday night. And he'll break it down very much perfectly for you. And I'll just leave that at that. So yeah. Um, for Bethune, how can Jalen Jones exploit FAMU's rush defense? They're a run first offense. He's gonna have to, think quick and think on his toes. He's gonna have to get that ball out of his hands very quickly to his receivers like Marcus Riley and Kamari Everett and others, so that way he may have a chance to at least, force FAMU to back off if they're gonna have any type of chance. Will they throw the kitchen sink at FAMU? I think they will. They saw the film from the Alabama State game. They saw Alabama State pull out a trick play. They saw Alabama State get active, get their hands up on pump blocks, and it worked. So they're going to throw the entire kitchen sink. I would expect Bethune Cookman to come on punts, come with a blitz when FAMU punts. I would expect. What type of performance do you expect from Musa tomorrow? Does he try to be a hero? I honestly hope he does not try to be a hero. I really just hope he just plays his own game, But if you've noticed with Musa, he typically tends to follow up bad performances with good performances. A good example of this would be, he threw an he didn't have the best day on homecoming. He didn't, because he threw a pick six. But he followed it up with a pretty darn good game against Southern, and then followed that up with a bad game against Alabama State. So I'd expect him to try to go out there and have a good game tomorrow. I expect him to be better and not throw any interceptions. He may throw one. I'll say that. I think he'll probably throw one, but I think he bounces back. I don't think he'll try to be a hero. I don't. I think you add in the fact that Bethune-Cookman's rush defense is horrible, and they don't have much of a rushing attack themselves. I think FAMU will exploit them on the ground and have success there, which will take the pressure off of him, which should open up passing lanes more. So, yeah. But where was I at? Yeah, I think Bethune's going to try to block punts. They're going to try to bring coverage and block punts. I think they're going to try to run a few trick plays because at this point they're desperate. They're staring a 2-9 season in the face. Do I expect a blowout? If my keys to victory go as follows, I expect a blowout. But I'm not expecting Bethune-Cookman to lay down. I think it's going to be tight for the first half. I think it's going to be tight. But I think at some point reality is going to set in where you're going to look at Bethune and just be like, they don't have the horses. They just don't have the horses to compete. And if you look at them from a physical standpoint, not even from X's and O's standpoint, you just look at them physically when they were in, oh my gosh, what is it? Ida Bena. Okay. No, it's not Ida Bena. Lorman. I'm getting my Mississippi towns mixed up. This is how you know I'm not from there. But yeah, when they were in Lorman, if you look at them from a physical stature, they don't present like they used to in the past, like the last decade. They don't. I'm sorry. But at the same time, too, I think to Ashton's point with the blowout part, I think there's a lot going on in Bethune-Cookman's mind right now. Just that whole university, because you've been swamped by two hurricanes. Well, I call it a tropical storm because I think Category 1 is essentially still tropical storm territory. But Bethune's been swamped by a major Category 4 hurricane. They've been swamped by a Category 1 storm. They had to switch between online and being back in person and then back online again, essentially. Plus, not to mention, last week, they had to go and practice in Jackson, Mississippi. Dion opened up the gates for them to practice there. So they've been on the move a lot. They haven't been able to really settle in one spot for too long. So I think that can contribute too, but it also can be a good thing because I guess it kind of keeps you guessing and it keeps you more trigger happy, which also isn't always a good thing. But hey, it could be a blessing and a curse. So there's that. Well, with that, I guess I can go to my keys to victory now. So I can answer Ashton's question because we essentially talked about and covered everything. So as far as keys to victory goes, I'm going to say it like this to answer Marcus's question right away. Key to victory number 1, get the ball to your playmakers. Do not try to be a hero if you're Jeremy Musa. If Xavier Smith is wide open, feed him. Even if he's not the first read, feed him. If David Manning goes wide open, feed him. Still, I'm going to say it again. Wide receivers 3, 4, 5, and heck, even 6 need to step up. That group of receivers right there, Darian Oxendine and company, those guys behind Xavier Smith and Jamari Shareed, you got to step up. It's time. It is time. Because if you get in the FCS playoffs, people are going to start rolling coverage to Xavier Smith and Jamari Shareed and trying to take them away. Other guys got to step up. So my thing is, it's time. Be a playmaker. Go make a name for yourself. This is a game, like I said already, unsung heroes that can get MVP. Guys like Darian Oxendine and company, go make a name for yourself. A lot of guys have made names for themselves in this game before. Just saying. Key to victory number 2 for the defense. Force Bethune to be one-dimensional. When I say that, take away their rushing attack. Their 2 leading rushers are going to be lined up in the backfield next to each other, 4 and 5, literally. Jalen Jones, Quayshawn Bird. The 2 leading rushers, that's your 2 leading rushers for Bethune-Cookman right there. You take away the run element for them, Jalen Jones isn't that good of a passer, hence why he left Florida, and then hence why he left Dion. Well, plus, he already knew Shedeur was going to start anyway, too, so he left. But he's not a better passer than Shedeur. He's not going to nickel and dime you to death. He's going to try to get the home run shot at some point. So, yeah, make them one-dimensional. Force him to throw it. He's not as good of a thrower as he is a runner. And then, of course, as I always say, and I said I was going to say it every week following the Grambling game, discipline. Discipline, discipline, discipline. I can't reiterate this enough. You play discipline ball, you will win the game. The team that makes the least amount of mistakes will win the game. The team that is more mentally tougher in the fourth quarter and from start to finish wins the game 9 times out of 10. Every now and again, a blind squirrel finds a nut, but you play discipline and stick to your keys, you'll win the game. And with that, y'all feel free to drop your score predictions as well, too, if you'd like. I'm going to go with mine, and I'm going to answer Ashton's question. I'm going to answer it right there like that. I know on Wednesday night, Ace basically predicted, he predicted 38-10. I'm going to go 10 points more. I'm going to go 48-14. I think FAMU wins Florida Classic for the second consecutive season, impresses the playoff committee, and we'll be sitting around the TVs and on our mobile devices on Sunday morning, hoping FAMU gets a home playoff game. So we'll see as far as that aspect goes. But yeah, I think FAMU wins this game. I think Bethune will get a couple of touchdowns, though, as stated right there. But, like I said, if you're on your way to Orlando right now, of course, safe travels. I'm actually heading out myself as soon as I pack this all up and wrap this up. There will be no post-game recap after the game tomorrow night. So if this is the last one for the football season, if I'm not counting on it being, though, I'm hoping there will be another game. If there is another one, we'll be right back here next week to talk about it on a Friday or Saturday, depending on if it's a home or away game. But overall, this has been a fun season. Started with a lot of turmoil, of course, because we didn't know who was eligible and who wasn't, if FAMU was even going to play at UNC. But overall, fun season. Can't wait to do it again in 2023. If this is the last game of the season. It's been fun. Y'all are the ones that make it go in the comment section. Wow, I really just clicked that ticker for those games. Man, disappointed in myself. Jeez. All right. But, as always, folks, like I said, if you're on your way to Orlando, safe travels. If you are there, enjoy yourself. Take in downtown Disney, take in City Walk, all those things such as that. It's a little cold, but if you're daring and you're crazy enough, go to Aquatica or go to Wet and Wild and go enjoy yourself. But yeah, enjoy all of it. Like I said, that's what I'm going to do too. Also, if you're going to the Battle of the Bands tonight, I'll be there too. So if you see me, say what's up. But, as always, from me to y'all, stay safe, stay blessed, safe travels. And that's right, the Run Gun Podcast had our season finale Wednesday night. I'll see you Tuesday night for the Last Gift podcast if I don't see you afterwards. So, yeah, stay safe, stay blessed. Take care.